MOTROLIX.
To me, this vehicle looks absolutely incredible. It is just the right combination of aggressive, sporty, and also luxurious. But the cool thing about the CT4-V Blackwing is that it's not trying too hard to be a sports car or to be a vehicle with an aggressive design. You have other vehicles out there that are really trying too hard, in my opinion. This is not the case with the CT4-V Blackwing. It's still subdued, but it has enough aggression to make people take notice. And really, this vehicle has a lot of good things going for it from the beginning, from the foundation. Basically, the CT4 family as a whole, starting with the 350T and the 500T, and then the regular CT4V, until you even get to the Blackwing. All those vehicles are already lookers in their own right. They look really good. But then the CT4-V Blackwing turns that up a notch. So let's see what we have here. Let's start with the hood. Really, the entire design of this car, in my opinion, it starts with the hood. There's a lot of interesting surface development here, a lot of interesting lines that I'm going to trace for you here in a second. But let's start with this primary line right here. So this is the spine or the crest, and it starts all the way back at the beginning of the hood and it runs all the way down through the hood itself. But check this out. It then runs through the front grille, through the lower part of the front grille, all the way through the lower fascia, and then into the front splitter. So this theme, this motif, you're going to see it back there at the rear as well. It's a common design trait of the CT4 and other Cadillac vehicles, and it really looks good on the CT4-V Blackwing. Now, outside of the hood, take a look at this grille. It is not completely black. It has some gray elements to it, and it has this shield-like pattern that has been making its way across all Cadillac models at this point. Of course, the crest Cadillac logo is present and accounted for right here. On the outside of the grille, you can see there is a bright black surround. And this bright black surround, it is also going to be present and accounted for in other areas of the vehicle. This isn't just the thing for the front fascia. So the grille, the black surround. Let's take a look at the lower grille. The lower grille on the CT4-V Blackwing is unique. This is not something that is present in the CT4-V, in the regular CT4-V, or in regular CT4 models. There is also quite a bit of things taking place here. As you can see, there is an intake right here going to the radiator or the intercooler. There's another vertical intake right here as well. All of this, again, is finished in the glossy black finish. The lower grille features the same grille pattern as the upper grille. And then there is this. This is the carbon fiber splitter, and that's because this vehicle is equipped with the carbon fiber 1 package. There are 2 carbon fiber packages that are offered on the CT4-V Blackwing. Both of them are optional, and both of them are extra cost items. This particular vehicle is wearing the first one, the carbon fiber 1 package, which has 4 elements, really 5 if you count them individually. So starting with the carbon fiber splitter down there at the lower end. Again, it does terminate in this nice pointy crest spine-like appearance. The other elements that are part of the carbon fiber 1 package are these front dive planes right here, and there are also these wheel well spats right here behind the front splitter. The final element of the carbon fiber 1 package can be seen out back. That's the extra spoiler, which we're going to get to when we get to the rear of the car. But ultimately, there is quite a lot taking place here. This is a very aggressive looking front fascia. I do want to point out the headlights. The headlights here are quite attractive. They really make this car pop. There is a nice vertical signature daytime running lamp. The vertical lighting element is really something that is unique to Cadillac, and it's specific to Cadillac. And whenever you see a Cadillac going down the street, whether it's an Escalade, whether it's a CT4, whether it's an XT6, you're going to see those vertical lighting elements, and it's unmistakably Cadillac. So these headlights, they do have this signature vertical lighting element, but they also have, as part of Cadillac's latest design trend, this horizontal element as well in the headlamp. So the primary forward lighting element is right here. This vertical one, all it does is serve as the daytime running light as well as the turn signal and the hazard light. So the primary lighting element is right here within the headlamp cluster. And then the inside of the headlamp also features cornering lights, which are quite interesting because they illuminate whenever you are taking a turn. They actually shine sideways to illuminate the turn that you're going into. So that's the front end. I'm a big fan of this, and I also, what I didn't mention are these grills right here. They complement these grills down here, and they do integrate really well with this vertical lighting treatment. Cadillac also integrated the parking sensors really kind of in a smart fashion over here, so that's working really well for the CT4-V Blackwing. Let's make our way around to the side of the vehicle. Here are the wheels. So these wheels, there are 3 wheel choices available for the CT4-V Blackwing. This is the base wheel, so to speak. And it is an 18, so all CT4-V Blackwings have 18-inch wheels. This is the polished with Android finish wheel. Now, it looks a little dirty right now. That's because it is. I have not washed this car. I've driven it for a week. And I really wanted to show you how this looks after a week's worth of driving without a wash, just because there is quite a bit of brake dust on here from the high-performance brakes, which we'll get to in a second. But these wheels, they're kind of interesting because they're shiny, but they also have some black accents to them kind of on the inside of the spokes. Overall, a very attractive wheel. This wheel has really, I didn't like it when I first took delivery of this tester, but man, do I like it now. It's grown on me over the last few weeks, few days rather, and I'm a big fan of it now. If you are not a fan of this wheel design, the other 2 options that are available is a satin wheel, so essentially a black wheel, and there's also a bronze finished wheel as well that's optional. If you take a look right behind the spokes, you will see a black or gray, in this case, brake caliper. These are Brembo brakes. They're standard on the CT4-V Blackwing, and they do have the V-Series logo right there within them. There are 3 options of other color calipers that can be equipped on this vehicle: red, blue, and bronze. In my opinion, the blue one would have matched quite nicely with this electric blue paint, although I should note that the optional blue caliper is a slightly different shade than this particular electric blue. But no less, this is the standard caliper, so this is a no-cost option, the gray caliper here. I personally, if I were equipping this car for myself, I would opt for either a red or a blue or a bronze caliper. One of the other elements that is relevant, in my opinion, is the black center cap with the silver, or rather monochromatic Cadillac crest, and the lug nuts. They are silver here. You can get black lug nuts if you prefer. I think the silver ones look fine in this case, but if you are going for the satin/black wheel, then you're probably going to want to get the black lug nuts. So this is the wheel, and it is, like I said, this is an 18-inch wheel. Out back, it is also an 18-inch wheel, but the tire sizes change as far as the width is concerned. This is a 255/35 ZR18 size tire, and the tire itself, this is a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, and it is a TP spec, meaning this is actually a specific compound of the tire that was co-developed with Michelin and Cadillac/GM specifically for the CT4-V Blackwing. So that's the wheel story here. By the way, these are not run flats. These are actually, they're gonna, if you get a nail in them or something, they will go flat. There is a tire inflator and sealant kit in the trunk. There is no spare in the CT4 range at all, and that also applies to the CT4-V Blackwing. As we keep making our way around, another element here that I should note is this heat extractor right here. So this heat extractor, it is functional, and it does quite a bit to extract heat from the engine bay of the CT4-V Blackwing. As you can tell, there are no hood extractors here at all, and that is for a reason. Engineers figured out that compared to the ATS-V, they really didn't need a hood air extractor. They could extract all of the heat and all of the turbulent air that accumulates under the hood. They can extract it here via the air extractor behind the front wheels. That is one of the key features that sets the CT4-V Blackwing apart from non-Blackwing models. The front fascia, all the carbon fiber treatment, and this air extractor behind the wheel. Okay, let's take a look at the greenhouse and look at the side profile of the CT4-V Blackwing. This is already has quite a few things going for it because, well, this is identical to the way that Cadillac designed and treated the profile of the ATS. So the CT4 already starts with a very attractive greenhouse because it is identical to that of the ATS and ATS-V. As you can see, the shape overall, it does have that nice traditional sedan shape. This isn't a fastback coupe. This isn't a fastback sedan. It is a traditional sedan, 3-box design, hood, roof, and the deck lid out back. So overall, this is a very good-looking vehicle from the front and, in my opinion, from the side. A few things that I want to draw your attention to are the lines here. Check out this one in particular. So there's the headlamp here, right? It sweeps up, the DRL sweeps up into a line, and there is a little Cadillac script right there within the headlamp, by the way. It sweeps up into this line and this one as well. So there's two lines here. This one starts here and runs the length of the vehicle all the way through to the door, to the rear door right here, and then through to the tail lamp. That's one. And in fact, the tail lamp continues this line with this nice sweep spear element within the tail lamp housing itself. That's a nice touch, in my opinion, because it really, it's a line that runs the entire length of the car. That's really unique. Let's take a look at another line. This one right here. It starts right here, roughly in the middle of the hood, I'd say, and it sweeps up through the hood into the base of the A-pillar, through the A-pillar, and it runs all the way through to the B, to the C-pillar right here, and it terminates right here in the middle of the C-pillar. Speaking of the C-pillar, I am a big fan. Take a look at how wide the C-pillar is. This isn't like a tiny piece of metal. This is a lot of metal. It is quite narrow, and then it opens up. The lower it goes, the more it opens, and this is quite a nice design element in my opinion. I really like the way that this is treated. Another design element that I like on the doors this time. So it starts right at the bottom of this heat air extractor, and then it starts and rises to the door, runs through the actual front door, and then terminates roughly towards the end of the rear door here. Another attractive line. And finally, take a look at the treatment of this rocker panel. This is a black rocker panel. It runs the length, roughly the length of the wheelbase, and it is the same shiny black material as I had pointed out here at the front of the vehicle that wraps the grille, that wraps a lot of these other vents and elements here at the front. So quite a lot of lines taking place, very attractive, a lot of surface development, and a lot of just really nice touches. The door handles, that's something else I wanted to point out. These are the kind of the same door handles really that were used on the ATS. They're still very attractive. They're traditional. They do move with the vehicle. This is the lock and unlock button, and when you have the key fob on you, on your person. So those are the door handles there. Let's also take a look at the greenhouse, the DLO, the daylight opening treatment itself. This is a black daylight opening. There's not a lot of chrome here, no chrome here at all except for the badges really. So this is it right here, and it is finished in black. Now, one particular element of this DLO that I like to show you is the way it's treated towards the end of the vehicle. So as you can see, the width of this DLO, it's roughly the same. The trim is roughly the same shape. It's roughly the same thickness until you get to this drop point at the C-pillar. The further down it goes, the thicker it becomes. And this is a nice, very nice design technique that I've been a fan of on the ATS, then the CTS that was above it, and now on the CT4 as well. Let's continue. I'd like to show you the roof here. This is the roof-mounted antenna. In this case, it is a shark fin style antenna, and it houses all of the comms for the vehicle. So the 4G LTE modem, that's inside of there. The XM, Sirius XM radio antenna is in there as well. One thing I would like to note about these rocker panels is that they are finished in black here, right, as I had mentioned. But had this vehicle been wearing the carbon fiber 2 package, they would actually be finished in carbon fiber, and they would actually be a little bit thicker because there would be a little extension to them as well as you get towards the rear of the vehicle. So keep that in mind. If you want these to be in carbon fiber, that is possible by equipping the CT4-V Blackwing with the carbon fiber 2 package. This wheel, since it is the rear wheel, it is quite a bit wider than the one in the front. The one in the front is 255 width, as I had mentioned. This one at the rear is 275. So the CT4-V Blackwing does have a nice staggered stance because the rear wheels and tires are actually wider. The design is exactly the same as it is at the front. Again, this is the polished with Android finish, so it is silver with a, well, silver really in a chrome kind of way. It's really a chromed silver, and then it also has black elements to it as well. The one design detail that I did not point out when discussing the front wheel is that there is a nice little V logo right there on that spoke, and there's also a nice design detail there on the spoke before the V logo itself. So just a nice detail from a wheel design standpoint that I've come to appreciate with my time with this car. Okay. Wrapping up towards the end, let's take a look at the way that this window is treated. Like I said, this is a sedan, traditional 3-box design. The window line comes down very in a kind of a traditional way. It doesn't slope too quickly, and it doesn't slow too slowly. It's just the right way for a sedan. However, this deck lid, well, it does have an interesting shape to it. So it does kind of slope and then even out. It's not straight through, and I believe the ATS, if I recall correctly, the ATS had a more kind of a straight deck lid treatment, whereas the CT4, well, the deck lid here is quite a bit different. This here, you of course cannot miss it. This is the optional carbon fiber spoiler. This comes part of the carbon fiber 1 package. Now, this spoiler, it is called the extra spoiler, well, because it's not just your typical spoiler. It actually has quite a bit of things to it happening, and it is quite larger to begin with. It does have quite a few interesting shapes here, so Cadillac designers have done an incredible job, in my opinion, in creating a spoiler that not only is functional, but also one that looks good. All right, let's talk about the rear end here. Well, let's talk about this piece here. It has kind of a 2-shape design motif to it. First and foremost, there's this element here that slopes down and inward, and then there's this one that comes out. Personally, I don't mind this. I do like the way that this deck lid is treated from a surface development standpoint. There are those who, have taken issue with it, but in my opinion, it looks good. I want to point out the rear, the lens for the rear view camera that is located right here, right above the Cadillac crest. This vehicle, the CT4 line in general, actually, for the 2020, 2021, and the 2022 model years, it does not offer the rear camera mirror. It is, of course, a digital display, and it provides a direct feed of what is behind the vehicle, but it does so not via the same camera as the one that operates the actual backup camera. It does so via a different lens. So had the CT4 offered the rear camera mirror, it would have positioned that lens right here at the back of the actual fin. Well, since the CT4 doesn't have it, there is no lens back there. But if you look at units of the CT5 that do have the rear camera mirror, the lens is located at the back of the fin. There's, of course, the V-Series badge here in case someone has forgotten that they're driving a V-Series Cadillac. And, of course, the CT4 badge right here. These are really the only things that are finished in chrome on this entire vehicle, or really that are silver outside of the wheels on this entire vehicle. Everything else finished in either black, carbon fiber, or body color. Let's now take a look at the tail lamps. So these are very much in line with the headlamps in that they have a nice horizontal element to them here, and then the vertical drop as they head towards the bottom of the rear fascia. Very distinct vertical shape here. You will not mistake this vehicle for anything other than a Cadillac on the road ever, because this looks good. You know, it looks good right now during the day, but man, at night it looks even better. It delivers even more presence and even more unmistakable branding to the CT4 and in this case CT4-V Blackwing. There is a nice Cadillac logo that is integrated into this tail lamp. Now let's make our way down towards the bottom of the rear fascia. So the bottom here contains the license plate and, well, of course, the pièce de résistance, in my opinion, these dark exhaust pipes. They're right there. They are dark on the V-Series Blackwing. On the regular V-Series, on the regular CT4V, they are actually light. So they're silver. On the CT4V Blackwing, they have a dark finish. There is also this black diffuser. This is the same kind of motif that I mentioned earlier on when I was discussing the front and the sides. This basically has a nice piano black finish to it, a shiny black finish, just like those other elements earlier on. And this is the other piece that can be optioned in carbon fiber if you were to opt for the carbon fiber 2 package. So you'd get the rocker moldings and this here rear valance in carbon fiber. In this case it is black, but it does look good and it does provide some aerodynamic stability for the vehicle as well. Another small yet interesting design element of the rear fascia here is the way that the design team integrated the rear reflectors. So they're located right down here, and they do follow the same vertical structure as the taillights. Taillights have this nice vertical element right here, the actual housing themselves, plus the light inside of the housing, and the same thing takes place down there at the reflector level. So small yet interesting design detail. They could have gone in a whole different direction. Had this not been such a great design, the team could have simply plopped one in, say, horizontally across the rear valance, the rear fascia there. But they didn't. They went with a nice vertical design so as to match this tail lamp right here. Now, at the front, I told you about the crest or the spine, which serves as kind of the central focal point of the front end. The rear end has the same kind of motif taking place. Take a look at it. You kind of have to really look for it, but it does start right there. There it is. And it runs through and runs through the rear fascia all the way down to this diffuser fin. So a nice touch, just like at the front. The rear end has that crest slash spine design element. Let's take a quick look under the hood. Of course, this is the 3.6 liter twin turbo V6, putting out 472 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque. But I do want to bring a couple of minor details that are quite interesting, in my opinion, to your attention. First, look at this treatment here on the actual hood liner. There's the V-Series logo in there, but if you look even closer, you'll see all of these details right here. This is a pattern that Cadillac has developed to identify V-Series vehicles, V-Series Blackwing vehicles with, and this pattern can be found at other points on the CT4-V Blackwing. For instance, on the rear diffuser, there is the same pattern as you see here underneath the hood. So a nice engine bay. There is an engine cover here. It's plastic. It looks good. You can remove it if you'd like to. Now the same pattern as we see here and as we see on the diffuser also applies right here. It gets carried over to the turbos right there as well. So another nice little touch even underneath the hood where people certainly probably don't look much, but Cadillac has carried those details over to the hood liner and the turbos as well. So overall, I really do like the design of the CT4-V Blackwing. I think that the CT4 range as a whole is already very attractive. So the Blackwing variant had quite a nice base to start with, quite an attractive base to start with. And this particular one, well, it is just eye-catching. I've had it for a week. Everywhere I've driven, everywhere I've gone, I've had at least one person noticeably looking at it, staring it down, I think out of envy. And really, some other folks have asked me, hey, is that a Blackwing? Is that the new V? Yes, it is the new V, but it is the new V Blackwing. So overall, quite an attractive vehicle. A lot of interesting design elements here, a lot of interesting details that designers have undoubtedly spent a lot of time crafting, and the end result is this beauty right here.
MOTROLIX.